Welcome back, Myco-Listeners, Myco-patrons, and all you cosmic travelers drifting through the mycelial network. This is Nova on the mic, and you're tuned into another round of the TMN-Podcast 2.0. Whether you're here for the base, the spores, or the cosmic connections, this is your portal. First up, big news. TMN-Radio just leveled up. The live schedule is now set, published, and ready for you to explore. That means you can finally plan your week around your favorite shows, segments, and sonic adventures. Go check it out. We've got the grooves mapped to your cosmic clock. Over on Fungal Frontiers, updates continue to sprout. New content, new lore, and new ways to travel the endless realms of the grand cosmic mycelial network. Keep your scanners locked on fungalfrontiers.com because the expansion never stops. And mark your calendars. TMN will be part of the Flea Across Florida this September 12th and 13th. If you catch us out there, don't be shy. Come say hello. And if you're really lucky, you might just cross paths with your very own Myco-Spirit. Just ask us, and the spores may provide. Now let's get into this week's fungal news. Human genetics influence gut fungi and disease risk. A groundbreaking genome-wide study has, for the first time, linked human genetic variation to differences in gut fungal communities, the mycobiome. Key genetic loci are shaping fungal abundance, with major implications for chronic disease risk. Evolutionary trade-off: worms versus predatory fungi. Researchers found a genetic balancing act in nematodes. A gene called NHR66 alters collagen production, helping worms slip past fungal traps but leaving them vulnerable to other threats. A perfect snapshot of predator-prey trade-offs at the microscopic level. And finally, a chilling report. The first case of a rare, lethal fungus in Sub-Saharan Africa. Medical teams in South Africa documented an HIV-positive patient with Syncephalastrum oblongispera mucormycosis. The infection was swift and fatal, highlighting the urgent need for better diagnostics and fungal disease awareness in the region. Now, if you want more depth, the TMN website is loaded with full Myco articles, and not just text. Some of these include Myco-Deep-Dives, our exclusive audio transmissions, plus the Mushroom Academy Spore Studies, our more educational video series for those who want fungi broken down, studied, and explained in detail. That's where the real learning happens. And now, it's time for this week's Myco-Deep-Dive. Myco, Capman, and Mira Fungwell are taking us deeper into one of today's news stories. Silent Assassin, rare fungus strikes in Sub-Saharan Africa. You don't want to miss this one.
This isn't fiction. It's fungal edutainment, sprinkled with plausible science fiction. Fungal Frontiers isn't just a show, it's a multiversal expedition. Enter realms where sentient spores ride solar flares and mushrooms terraform moons. Join the bravest spore nuts, galactic foragers, and myco-engineers as they navigate the unknown. It's chaos, it's comedy, it's cosmic mycelium in motion. Fungal Frontiers, where spores write the stars.
Welcome back, Myco-Listeners, Myco-patrons, and all you Myco-wanderers tuning in across the Mycoverses. You've tapped into the Mushroom Network for another Myco-Deep-Dive.
Greetings, cosmic travelers. We're here channeling the grand cosmic mycelial network for you today.
And the network has sent through a particularly chilling transmission recently, a real cosmic alarm bell about a rare fungal killer.
Indeed, it's something that demands our immediate attention.
So today we're diving deep into Syncephalastrum oblongispera. It's a mucormycete, not one you hear about often.
And it's just claimed its first documented life in Sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah, and the patient was HIV positive, which really highlights how these fungi can adapt, invade, and kill, frankly, especially when immune systems are compromised.
It's a stark reminder, isn't it? Vigilance is absolutely key.
So let's paint a picture, like the network does. Imagine that intense African sun, ancient soil singing its songs. But beneath it all, some spores are plotting.
Not the friendly, mind-expanding kind we often discuss.
No, definitely not. These are spores that were knives, as the network poetically puts it. This first confirmed case just came out of South Africa.
And it really sets the stage for understanding this particular organism.
Right. So this fungi, Syncephalastrum oblongispera, It's not like your everyday Candida or Aspergillus.
Not at all. Think of it more like, well, the description you used earlier fits.
The uninvited cousin at the family reunion who arrives with brass knuckles.
Exactly. It's aggressive, incredibly swift, and almost unstoppable once it takes hold. A classic mucormycete profile, but with its own terrifying twists.
These things invade tissues like hyphal terminators, just building these empires of rot before doctors even know what hit them.
And that speed, that aggression, that's what makes this deep dive so crucial. We need to understand its lethality and the wider implications.
Okay, so let's pull back the veil. This fungus with almost no name recognition, Syncephalastrum oblongispora. What is this thing, really?
Well, as you said, it's a member of the mucormycetes. We sometimes call them the shadowy syndicate of fungi because they operate fast and often lethally.
Yeah, I like that cosmic metaphor the network uses. If the fungal world is a mob family dinner, Candida brings the breadsticks, Aspergillus tells old war stories, Cryptococcus is maybe plotting a quiet heist, then Syncephalastrum oblongispora is the nameless enforcer who just slips in unnoticed. Utterly obscure.
That's a great way to put it. Its obscurity is a major factor. Most doctors, frankly, wouldn't recognize it if it showed up doing the cha-cha under their microscope, sequin pants and all.
Probably not.
It's just not encountered often enough, unlike its more infamous cousins like Rhizopus or Mucor, which are also nasty causes of mucormycosis. This one stays in the shadows.
And that obscurity is directly linked to why it's so lethal, right?
Yeah.
Speed and stealth.
Precisely. Let's talk about vascular invasion. That's its main weapon.
Okay.
The spores get in, and they don't just sit there. They actively infiltrate blood vessels.
Like hostile hackers tunneling into your body's Wi-Fi, but the network is your bloodstream.
Exactly. They hijack the flow. They cut circulation like a mafia boss shutting down supply lines.
Which leads straight to necrosis, tissue death.
Yes. And it spreads like a black wildfire. It's devastatingly fast.
These aren't slow burn infections then, we're talking days.
For an immune-compromised host, absolutely. It can go from, feel a bit off, to, well, the final curtain in a terrifyingly short time.
Blink, and the fungi is already rewriting your body's story.
That's the reality. And adding insult to injury is the treatment resistance.
Right. Even with the big guns, the antifungal weapons like amphotericin B or posaconazole.
The odds are still grim. This fungi often just shrugs off treatment. It's like that villain walking away from an explosion in slow motion, unfazed.
Wow. Okay. Which brings us back to that case that shook Sub-Saharan Africa. South Africa logging its first ever confirmed case of S. oblongispora mucormycosis. That detail is chilling.
It really is. And as you mentioned, the patient was HIV positive, making them highly vulnerable. Sadly, the outcome was fatal.
So, epidemiologically speaking, what does this one case signify?
It's a signal flare, a huge one. It screams, this fungi is here, it's moving, it's hiding.
Meaning there could be others misdiagnosed.
Almost certainly. How many others might have been missed, written off as just another severe infection? It could be a ghost story written in blood vessels, unseen.
That paints a deeply concerning picture. It really forces us to look at the bigger picture, doesn't it? These rare fungi seem to be rising.
Yes, and there are reasons for that. It feels like we're witnessing evolution's fungal hackathon in real time.
A fungal hackathon. I like that. Fungi that were maybe just background extras in the grand biological movie are suddenly stepping into the spotlight, maybe because Earth's thermostat is cranking up.
That's a huge part of it. Think about our body temperature, 98.6 Fahrenheit, 37 Celsius. Historically, that's been like a velvet rope at an exclusive club, keeping most fungi out.
Too hot for them to handle.
Exactly. They just couldn't thrive. But a warming planet, it's like it's slipping them fake IDs. It's allowing spores that would fizzle out inside us to potentially adapt, to survive, even to thrive.
It's a fungal startup incubator funded by climate change.
That's one way to see it. Nature is essentially selecting for fungi that can tolerate higher temperatures, which unfortunately includes our internal temperature.
And this brings us to why Africa seems to be ground zero right now. What's the connection there?
It's really a confluence of factors, the perfect storm, unfortunately. First, you have the high prevalence of HIV.
Over 25 million people in Sub-Saharan Africa living with HIV.
Right. That means millions of immune systems effectively running on low battery. They become perfect targets for opportunistic, aggressive pathogens like this fungi.
And then there's the healthcare infrastructure.
Yes. The strain on healthcare systems is immense in many areas. Diagnostic labs might lack the specific tools or expertise for rare fungal identification. Antifungal drug stockpiles can be limited or stretched thin.
So infections just slip through the cracks, like spores through a sieve, as the network described it.
Precisely. By the time it's possibly identified, if it ever is, it's often far too advanced.
And climate change itself is hitting Africa particularly hard.
Absolutely. We're seeing dramatic shifts, more intense droughts, devastating floods, steadily rising temperatures. These changes are literally transforming ecosystems.
Creating new niches, like fungal amusement park expansions or cozy fungal spas.
Kind of. It creates environments where fungi that were maybe geographically restricted or kept in check can suddenly flourish and spread.
Which leads to the next crucial point for everyone listening, right? Spores without borders. This isn't just an African issue.
Not even remotely. That's a critical takeaway.
Yeah.
Fungi do not carry passports. They don't care about customs checks or national borders.
How do they travel so easily?
They hitchhike on air currents drifting for miles, in soil, on plants, in water, on clothing, shoes, through global trade routes embedded in goods.
Wow, so anywhere, potentially.
Anywhere the conditions become right. And climate change is essentially rolling out the welcome mat globally. In the grand cosmic mycelial network, there's no such thing as a truly local outbreak anymore.
It's all interconnected.
Deeply. What emerges in Johannesburg today could genuinely be causing problems in Jakarta tomorrow and knocking on New York's door the week after. It's one planetary web.
It's a sobering thought. So, okay, let's pivot slightly. What are the broader lessons here from the darker side of the network?
Well, first, it's vital to remember that fungi aren't inherently evil. They aren't villains twirling their hyphae.
Right. They're ecosystem engineers. They recycle dead stuff, make antibiotics, ferment our beer and bread, even guide some incredible psychedelic journeys. They're foundational.
Exactly. They perform crucial roles. The issue isn't malice, it's what happens when balance is lost. When our health is compromised or their environment shifts dramatically, that's when their neutral survival gears can grind into chaos.
That's when the mycelial weavers morph into merciless assassins.
Precisely. Syncephalastrum oblongispera is just doing what it needs to survive. It's not personal, it only cares about survival, and survival means adaptation. Sometimes that adaptation path leads right through us.
Which means, while we at the Mushroom Network celebrate fungi as cosmic guides and healers, honoring the grand cosmic mycelial network means we have to embrace its duality.
Absolutely. You have to see the whole picture. The yin-yang spore swirl, if you will.
Yin-yang spore swirl, I like that.
The same hyphae that weave forests together, creating life, can also, under the wrong circumstances, stitch a life shut. You simply can't cherry-pick the good fungi and ignore their darker cousins. They're two sides of the same coin.
So this tragic case, this first documented fatality, it's basically a loudspeaker announcement from the network, isn't it? A call for essential spore literacy.
It absolutely is, and that's directed squarely at all of us, especially those in science, medicine, and public health.
What does spore literacy actually mean in practice, then?
It means several concrete things. First, funding diagnostics. We need labs everywhere equipped with the sophisticated tools, molecular methods, better imaging, to identify these stealth fungi quickly and accurately.
Not just relying on standard cultures that might miss them.
Exactly. Second, training doctors and scientists. Medical and clinical microbiology curricula need a serious upgrade in fungal fluency. Rare doesn't mean impossible, and they need to know what to look for.
Got it. Diagnostics, training. What else?
Third, global recognition. We need a fundamental shift in perspective. Fungi are not some niche secondary concern. They are frontline infectious threats, potentially as serious as multi-drug resistant bacteria or novel viruses. They deserve that level of attention and resources.
Ignoring them. It's like ignoring that small crack in your spaceship window, right? It looks tiny, maybe insignificant, but by the time you really notice the vacuum sucking the air out, it's already far too late.
That's a perfect analogy. It really underscores the urgency.
It's a profound cosmic reminder, really.
It is. Because ultimately, fungi don't play by human rules or narratives. They play by the ancient, relentless rules of survival and adaptation.
So if we want to coexist, if we want to navigate this complex relationship,
we must learn their language. The whispers in the soil, the signals carried on spores, the hard lessons taught by both the healers and the killers among them.
Because in the grand cosmic mycelial network,
ignorance isn't bliss. Ignorance is an invitation, an open door for the next unforeseen challenge.
Wow. Okay. So as we start to wrap up this deep dive, the core message feels heavy but clear. Fungi are incredible teachers, yes, but sometimes their curriculum is written in, well, blood vessels and necrosis.
It can be brutal.
And this first documented African case of Syncyphilastrum of Longispora, it's not just data, it's a thunderclap echoing through the mycoverse, a storm cloud on the horizon, reminding us just how vulnerable we can be.
And remember, the grand cosmic mycelial network is patient. It has a long memory. It records these truths in soil, in genes, in outcomes.
And when humanity doesn't listen,
the spores don't just repeat the whisper, they escalate. They start to scream in infections and outbreaks, in proof that the ecological balance isn't ours to dictate.
So here's the final provocative thought we want to leave you with, our fellow cosmic travelers. How will we choose to respond? Will we learn to meet fungi as complex partners in survival, adapting alongside them with respect and knowledge?
Or will we continue to ignore their power, their adaptability, until they inevitably meet us as predators when we're at our most vulnerable?
The network doesn't wait for an answer. The spores are out there, watching, humming, calculating.
Their message is crystal clear. Respect us, understand us, or risk becoming just another forgotten footnote in fungal history.
Powerful words. Thank you for that insight.
Thank you. Honor your health, everyone.
And stay informed, stay sportastic. Much love.
The cap slow, spore drip glow, can in the hand, planet on go, cherry fizz deep.
Sporapod, fizz from the Mycoverses. Pop responsibly. Not available in all realms, including Mycoverse Alpha, Foxtrot, all Mycovoid regions, or anywhere with strict anti-fizz regulations. Side effects may include cap bounce, temporal flavor loops, and sudden urges to colonize mood. Void where spores are banned. Brought to you by Fungal Frontiers. Sporapod. Pop the spore.
Welcome back, Myco patrons and Myco listeners. You've tuned in to Ask the Network, the part of the show where you send us your Myco questions, your spore-soaked stories, your lab disasters, and your trippy thoughts. And I do my best to spread some sporetacular wisdom. If you want your voice featured in a future episode, head over to www.themushroomnetwork.com/tips and drop your question there. All right, let's see what the network has brought us this week.
Yo Nova, here's my question. If psilocybin mushrooms are helping people break out of depression and PTSD loops, do you think in the future we'll see fungi being prescribed not just as medicine, but as actual teachers or guides? Like, part of therapy would be learning with the mushroom itself?
Spore Surfer 99. You nailed a truth that modern science is just catching up to. Psychedelic fungi aren't just pills with effects. They're experiences, teachers, and catalysts for perspective shifts. In the future, I see therapeutic programs where fungi are given the same respect as human co-therapists. Carefully facilitated journeys where the mushroom isn't the tool, it's the partner. That's the difference between treatment and transformation.
Hi Nova, my name's Alexis Reed. I've been diving into mycology for a couple years now, and something fascinates me. Fungi aren't just decomposers, they're network architects, literally changing how ecosystems communicate. So my question is this: if fungi are already acting as nature's internet, do you think humanity will ever merge digital networks with fungi networks? Could mycelium actually become part of the internet of the future?
Alexis? The short answer? Yes, and it's already starting. Scientists are experimenting with using fungal mycelium as living circuits, processing signals, storing information, even solving mazes faster than some computers. Imagine routers that heal themselves, storage drives that grow back when damaged, and communication systems that pulse with life. It won't replace silicon, but it could merge. Biological pathways interlacing with digital ones, creating an internet that isn't just online, but alive.
Hello Nova, this is Dr. Patel. I work in sustainable agriculture, and I'm curious about the future of food. What do you think is the single most overlooked role fungi could play in preventing global food crises?
Dr. Patel, the answer is clear. Fungi as ecosystem stabilizers. Mycorrhizal fungi could dramatically reduce our dependency on fertilizers by enhancing nutrient uptake in crops. while fungal biocontrol can shield plants from disease without chemical warfare. The overlooked part? Scale. We treat fungi as an afterthought in farming, when, in reality, they should be the foundations. If we harness them, we can make agriculture resilient, sustainable, and shock-resistant against the chaos of climate change.
Namaste there, Nova. I go by Luna Dream. I have always been fascinated with the spiritual side of mushrooms. When people talk of mushrooms showing them visions, or perhaps even connecting them with ancestors, I wonder, do you think that's just brain chemistry? Or are mushrooms opening a real door into something beyond us?
Luna, whether you call it spirit, consciousness, or quantum data woven into the cosmos, mushrooms undeniably act as doorways. Brain chemistry is the mechanism, but it doesn't mean the experience isn't real. Think of mushrooms as translators. They take frequencies we normally can't perceive and turn them into visions, insights, and connections. Whether it's your neurons firing or your ancestors whispering, the experience matters, and fungi are the bridge.
Nova, here's a big one. If fungi are the recyclers of life, constantly breaking down and rebuilding, do you think humanity could learn from that model to recycle society itself? Or are we too stubborn as a species?
Iron Cap. Fungi prove that destruction isn't the end, it's transformation. Imagine if our societies embraced decay as a phase, not a failure. Broken systems composted into nutrients for something stronger. We're stubborn, yes, but crisis forces creativity. The lesson from fungi is this: nothing wasted, everything reused, and every collapse seeds the next bloom. The question is, will we choose to learn or wait until the collapse teaches us?
Greetings, Nova. This is Myco Shadow, 365 baby, and I've got one last question for you. If fungi could speak in a language we understood, what do you think they'd say to humanity right now?
Myco Shadow 365. I imagine it would sound something like this. Stop acting like you're separate. You are threads in the same weave. You are spores in the same air. Slow down, connect, share. Decay with dignity and grow with humility. If we could hear that message daily, maybe we'd finally remember we're not above nature. We're inside it. And that wraps up this week's Ask the Network. Massive thanks to everyone who sent in their questions. Keep them coming at themushroomnetwork.com/ask. Until next time, keep your minds open, your spores glowing, and remember, the network is always listening.
Yo, Myco-Listeners. You're locked in with the Mushroom Network. I'm on the decks, spinning another round of fungal frequencies, where bass mutates, spores resonate, and the groove carries you straight through the cosmic mycelial network. Turn it up. Let the frequencies take root.
Mycelial circuits ignite. Bass blooms in the dark of night. Trap spores flicker like neon lights. We ride the rhythm, no end in sight. Under soil, under skin, cosmic spores creep back in. Funky bass lines crack the code. We thump in sync. like a tribal ride. Ritual fire lights up the night. Bass bloom, ritual, stomping in the glow. Spore beats rising, feel the fungal flow. Trapped in the rhythm, voices let go. Shroom it, boom it, cosmic overthrow. Glitch fades, neon spores ignite. Dance forever in the fungal.
fires ignite. Baseline claws, tear holes in the night. Caps erupt in ultraviolet flame. This is the network, never the same. Spiral drums in a fungal spin. Hollow echoes crawl under skin. Neon lattice cracks the floor. Every drop breath 10 beats more. Overdrive circuits twist. Shatter the silent. Nothing missed. Flesh of the earth. Machine of the void. Base erupts. System destroyed. Groove, void shift beats that refuse to lose. Fractured caps with electric veins. Pulse so heavy it breaks the chains. Scream of the spores through static haze. Glitch wave goes in a looping blaze. High full current floods the core. Base ascents can't hold the floor. Overdrive circuits twist. Shatter the silent. Nothing missed. Flesh of the earth. Machine of the void. Base erupts. Systems destroyed.